What's up, guys? Welcome into another MLB DFS DraftKings Picks video. This time it is for Thursday, August 19th. I'm your host, Ben Hostler, joined by Justin Bales. Bales, we're going to be talking about the 6-game early slate on DraftKings. It's a little bit different. We normally don't do streams or podcasts for the early slates, but you and I looked at Thursday's games earlier, and we noticed that the early slate has 6 games and the late slate only has 4. So obviously, it would make sense for us to talk about the bigger slate. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the early games. This might be a little bit shorter video than normal, just because we're doing it night before. We don't have any lineups, and we're only talking about 6 games. But we are still here grinding out the content for you. If you guys are watching, please. We say this is the second time I've said this today because we did a podcast earlier today. Like the video. Let's see if we can get 50 likes. I'm keeping that as our goal until we reach it. So like the video if you're watching. Subscribe to the channel. Check out our website, dfskarma.com. We have tons of free content every day for all the main sports. I don't know, get in the Discord. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to get in a free Discord. Our goal was to get, what was our goal, Bills? 3,000 people in the Discord by football season. I think we're at 2,800.
Yep.
So we're rapidly approaching, we're on pace to hit that goal, which is good. But if you guys are watching this,
So get in.
you guys got to get in. Yeah, it's simple, easy. But yeah, let's talk about some of these games. So 6 games on DraftKings. You kind of just brought it up to me, just quick looking at the slate. You said that there was 4 pitchers that you would be interested in using, at least at first glance. On this early slate, I agreed with you that there was 4 pitchers I would be interested in using. So we can kind of talk about those guys. I think you and I had the same 4, which was Zach Wheeler, Shane McClanahan, Dylan Cease, and Luis Garcia. That is 4 of the 5 most expensive pitchers on DraftKings, so we're going to be spending up for pitching on this early slate. So I'll kick it to you here. I've kind of highlighted the 4 guys that you and I were looking at. Which of those guys are you preferring at first glance for Thursday's early slate?
Yeah, so I think first I probably just want to lock in Zach Wheeler. He's actually been struggling a bit recently. He's posted 14 in his last game. Before that, he had around 17. Mixed in there was a 50 fantasy point performance against yours truly, the New York Mets. But it's not like he's been overly dominant. With that being said, 10-2, it's way too cheap. Arizona is not an offense that I'm afraid of. Obviously, I like them more on the road. Wheeler, I would much prefer him throwing in Philly tonight, but it kind of is what it is. You take the good with the bad. I guess today it would be. You take the good with the bad. He's throwing in Arizona. It doesn't really matter on this type of a slate. So I think you lock Wheeler into your SP1. After that, I do think it is a decision to make. I guess if I had to pick an SP2 at the moment, I'd probably try to pay up for Shane McClanahan. If you look at all his advanced metrics, just phenomenal. They're way better than literally anyone will give him credit for. Since I've been doing the pitchers chart that I post to my Twitter literally every day, for the last couple months, I've been on Shane McClanahan while he was priced super low. No one else really was on him too much. And, all the advanced metrics just look great for the guy. So I really like that against Baltimore. I think that the Baltimore run total is also the lowest on either slate of today or tonight. So that's always good. And I guess if I'm not going McClanahan, I would prefer Garcia over Cease, but I just kind of prefer the savings at that point. It's $700. I don't know. I don't really. I wouldn't try to make you lean one way or the other of Garcia or Cease. I think that I would just pick Garcia because he's a bit cheaper, and I'm not really worried about Kansas City as an offense, whereas Oakland at least has some bats throughout their lineup. And, Cease has been really, really good, but he does get blown up sometimes.
Yeah. So I pretty much agree. I think for me personally, just at first glance, I'm trying to pull up some numbers here, so stand by. But for me personally, I'm probably going to scratch McClanahan. I love Shane McClanahan, man. I'm a big fan of his. I think I can knock him out for me on this slate just because I know we like to pick on Baltimore, but for the season against lefties, like they're 22nd in baseball in the strikeout rate. Against lefties, 22%. 108 WRC plus is pretty solid. So I think he like matchup wise, it's not that great for him. So I'm probably gonna scratch or like take him out personally for me, or at least have him fourth among those guys. I think number one is Luis Garcia. He's just been the best pitcher of these guys over the last month, which you and I kind of, or I was kind of talking about on the earlier pod today when we were talking about Wednesday's games. I'm at the point in the season where I'll isolate pitcher numbers to the last month. And over the last month, sub 3 Sierra, 285 for Garcia, 34% strikeout rate's highest on the slate. He's been the best pitcher. He's in the best form. I'm not scared of Kansas City's offense at the moment, and he's cheap, right? Like 8,400 compared to Wheeler, that's 10-2. Like that is a discount for someone that's been throwing better. So he's probably my number one, and then I think you choose between Wheeler and Cease. I'm a big Dylan Cease fan. I've kind of been riding him his last three starts. I've played him in my core plays on the website that subscribers have access to. But the matchup's pretty neutral against Oakland, right? Like it's not great, but it's not bad. Wheeler definitely gets the edge in matchup against Arizona. I will definitely give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think you're going to go overly wrong with any of the four. I think that they're all 100% fine. I think you could make a case. So this is actually kind of crazy, but I think you can make a case that over the last month, Luis Garcia is the best pitcher in all of the MLB. I believe he has the lowest xFIP of any pitcher in the MLB over the last month. But the other thing that you kind of have to take with him is that he just isn't going to throw deep into games. So I do feel like for fantasy, that's a pretty big drawback. Whereas you have someone like Zach Wheeler, who also ranks top five. Over the last month in xFIP, he ranks fourth. It's at 308 compared to basically 25 for Garcia. And you look at someone like Shane McClanahan, who is seventh. It's at 327. So there's are lower for sure. And I do feel like Garcia is in a really good spot. So it's not like I'm going to try to knock him for that. It's just that very clearly, Garcia has the shortest leash necessarily, but just doesn't have the capabilities to throw as deep into the game. Over the span, they all have 5 starts. Garcia has only thrown 6 innings in one of those starts. I believe he threw under 5 in a pair of them. Overall, 26 innings, it's 26.1, whereas Wheeler's at 36.1, so 10 extra innings over the same amount of starts. And even McClanahan is 29.1. So you kind of take the good with the bad, whereas Garcia's throwing at an extremely high level. And, you don't want to try to take anything away from him. But at the same time, there is a massive advantage when you have guys that are throwing much deeper into games. Like Zach Wheeler over his last 5 starts hasn't thrown less than 6 innings, which is Garcia's max. Whereas he also has obviously the complete game shutout against the Mets, which was almost 50 fantasy points. So I get it. I have no problems with Garcia. I just think that I do think he's too cheap, but I think the pricing is more appropriate for someone like him just because you probably are only going to get around 5 innings. Maybe he gets up to 6, and that is going to limit more or less what he can do while on the mound.
Yeah, so first of all, Hunter Renfroe just hit a huge home run for the core plays.
Did he?
That was massive. Yeah, needed
That's
that.
what's up. I have him on Jock Market.
Yeah.
Shout out Jock Market. If you guys don't have the app, we're literally just making money nightly. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, needed that home run, so that's big. Secondly, pulled up the numbers. Last 30 days, among all qualifiers, pitchers, Luis Garcia does have the lowest skill interactive ERA, 2.85. It is the lowest in all of baseball. 34% strikeouts, really good as well. So I'm trying to look top 5 lowest Sierras over the last month. Number 5, Max Fried, Corbin Burns, Montes, Logan Webb, Luis Garcia. Zach
I
Wheeler's
mean, it's a good group.
Zach Wheeler number 6.
It's yeah. I feel like this. We do this all the time, like where me and you go back and forth because you like Sierra and I like XFIP, and we
I mean,
just always
there's
go back
yeah,
and forth on. They're basically the same. Like they're very similar. Like
yeah, they're
Wheeler
similar.
fourth in XFIP, sixth in Sierra, Garcia first in all of them. But it's just kind of funny that me and you literally. It's been like 2 or 3 years of this now where we go back and forth on which one we like more.
Yeah, but so yeah, I don't know. I guess Garcia and Wheeler are probably where I would lean as of right now. But Dylan Cease is right there just because I'm a big fan of his. I'm assuming. I mean, it's tough to know, but I'm assuming Cease is going to be the lowest owned of those three, just because he's up against Oakland, right? And everyone knows to pick on Arizona at this point of the season. So
Yeah, I would argue that Cease is probably the lowest owned of all four, wouldn't you think? I would assume that McClanahan gets more ownership than Cease yet.
yeah, wouldn't shock me at all, and I definitely like that for tournaments, because I think he has as much upside as any of these guys. Um, yeah, there's no other pitchers that I really like on this slate, to be honest. Like, I really think that's kind of the guys that I would be looking at as of right now.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that I guess I'll add, just in case viewers are wondering about it, and like I kind of just do want to touch on it because the matchup's so good. Chris Flexon, I have not used him yet this season. I want full transparency. I know you used him the one night. I
that
think
one,
literally
that
one
one
night when he
night,
had
and
a
he
pivot and he went
crushed.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Um,
great. That was
he's
like
flashed at
so good.
times.
He was good in the
And
KBO, man.
yeah,
So
the
do you know
the match
Chris Flexen? I think he was on the Mets, like
he was on the
originally.
Giants and then he was on the Mets. Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. I think he was on the Mets when he made his first ever start, and they called him up. And this was before you and I worked closely together. I still was with Karma and doing that stuff, but he was min price like 4K on DraftKings. They were bringing him up. He had looked decent in the minors, and I was like, dude, I'm playing this guy. Because back in the day, pricing was not. People don't understand this. That just started playing DFS. Pricing was not like what it is now, like 4 years ago. 4 years ago, there was
No.
no min priced hitters on DraftKings. Today, you can get on DraftKings and you can find 16 guys that are like 2,500 or below that are in the lineup.
Yep.
This was not a thing. It was like back like 4 years ago, if there was one guy that was batting ninth that was like 2,800, you would like consider playing him because there was no value. So the fact that there was a 4K pitcher that was decent, I used to play those guys all the time. But I went all in on him, and he was absolutely terrible. So yeah, that was
That's
that was the
I
point of that
figured that's how
story.
that story was
To be
going.
honest, yeah, that's the point of that. But yeah, but no, I mean, I don't think he's that bad. I think he's pretty league average, so he can definitely have some good starts.
He so like his numbers don't look that bad on like face value when you look at kind of what he's done, but really over the last 30 days, he has one of the lower xFIPs. He's bottom 15 in the MLB of all starters with qualified innings in xFIP. So not good, but at the same time, matchup against Texas, there's only 6 games. So if you want to break out of the pool of the four that we said, which kind of feel more or less like the obvious options, Chris Flexen's not necessarily a bad play, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know. I don't see a reason to get out of those four.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, stack wise, there seems to be like some decent stacks to me. One, I don't know who your favorite stacks are. I think there's a couple different you can look at. You can look at Seattle again against Spencer Howard. I think for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be opposed to that. I think both sides of that Angels Tigers game are interesting. Fine picking on Matt Manning, and then Quintana was absolutely horrible earlier in the year. Then he got hurt, and he's kind of been in the bullpen since then. Kyle Seager just hit a 404-foot flyout. That is sick. Great. But dude, it's tough to do these during the games that are going on because normally that's never happening. But um, Quintana was horrible early in the season, got hurt. Now he's been in the bullpen, hasn't been that bad, but they're bringing him back out to start. I'm really not scared of him whatsoever, and I love to play the Tigers on early slates for some reason. So this could be a day that I look at some Tigers, and then I guess like Astros and White Sox power guys. Irvin. So when I was looking at the worst, like the Sierra over the last month, Cole Irvin actually has the third worst.
Yep. That's what I was. He's fourth worst in xFIP too. It's just his ERA is good over that span, but all the advanced metrics are really bad.
Yeah, so maybe we could look at some White Sox power guys, Astros power guys for sure. Mike Minor, we know he gives up fly balls. He's going to see a ton of righties, so I like the power spots for those two teams as well.
Yep, 100% agree. I will add the Phillies, assuming Bumgarner's throwing, he is in a similar spot to Cole Irvin. So over his last 5 starts, which is over the last 30 days, his ERA is 2.2, which is outstanding. His xFIP is 10th worst in the MLB at 4.73. So plenty of regression coming for Madison Bumgarner. It's just you really never know who Arizona is going to throw out there to start. And then, I mean, we just kind of have to say Tampa Bay, right? It feels like every time they play Baltimore, they're dropping 10 runs or so. And it's not like you're really scared off of Lopez. So I do think that Tampa Bay is probably the number 1 stack for me on this slate. But, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can go.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of offensive spots, so that'll be fun to dive into. It's going to be tough to go position by position here because sometimes lineups can get a little bit weird on these early slates, but we will do our best. So starting off at catcher here, where are you looking for catcher? I think I'm kind of just going to stick with the stacks that we were just talking about. As far as like cheaper guys, like none of these guys are like sticking out to me. I might actually try and spend up here to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough slate. I think you can go like if you want to get all the way up to
like I want to play. Yeah, I was gonna say
problems.
If he's in the lineup, he has to be my top play. You and I both have kind of just been riding him against lefties. I think I don't think he played today though, so we gotta wait and see if he's in the lineup.
Yeah, JT Realmuto at 5K, I think is a very good play. Outside of that, I mean, it's obviously going to kind of depend on who's starting because especially at catcher, those are the kind of days when it's a night game into a day game that you give your catcher the day off. So we could have some backups in. But I do think that Sebi Zavala at 2,800 is a very reasonable punt option, especially if you're attacking the right-handed bats against Cole Irvin.
Yep, 100% agree. It's going to probably end up, like, I'm either going to spend up or I'm going to wait and see whatever cheap ones get in the lineup, and that's probably where I'm going to go. So that's a tough position to talk about when you don't have lineups. First base, a little bit different. We pretty much know who's going to be playing. If you're spending up, Jose Abreu, Shohei Ohtani, those guys. I mean, Ohtani, we got to talk about this guy. Pitching Ninja had a really good tweet earlier, and they were like, what if he wins MVP, Cy Young, and the home run title? Like, this is all on the table, to be quite honest with you.
Not out of the question.
It's not at all.
I mean, yeah, the dude's a force at the moment.
Unbelievable. And then for cheap, you know who I'm talking about. It's Miguel Cabrera.
Go ahead, talk him up. That's your boy.
He hits the ball hard. You have become
Miguel Cabrera fan club.
I obviously grew up an Indians fan. So I wasn't supposed to like Miguel Cabrera because he used to just destroy the Indians for like my entire life. But I've always been a Miguel Cabrera fan, man. He's so good. Probably the second best hitter of yours and I's generation, to be honest, behind Pujols. So
I wouldn't say no to that necessarily.
Yeah, but he's actually been good this year. Him and Votto have kind of both had like renaissance seasons. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I think there's some other plays. Jared Walsh, anytime he's playing a bad right-handed pitcher, you can go ahead and kind of throw him in there, and his price is down to 4,500. You Yuli Gurriel, I have no problems whatsoever playing against a fly ball pitcher, Mike Minor. Um, I don't know. I do think that there's a lot of different options that you can go here. And I feel like that's going to be how it is at a lot of positions just because there are so many like bad pitchers. But I don't know. Jared Walsh and Otani are the two that really, really stick out to me.
Yeah, I'm more apt to like I play mostly cash games, so I'm not grinding like the bigger tournaments, but I'm more apt to stack, I think, in my cash lineup on these smaller slates than the bigger ones. So I'll probably just be looking to fill out whatever stack or like whatever two stacks I pick. Second base, I think this one's a little bit easier. You have Brandon Lau and Jose Altuve for spend ups. Jonathan Scope is really nicely priced in that mid tier against the lefty, and then Abe Toro once again is still too cheap. So there's actually some guys that I feel fairly confident in at second today.
Yeah, you just outlined everyone that I was going to say. So that about does it for second base, I think.
Yeah, that was an easy position, honestly. Third base, dude, I know he just let us down with that 404-foot flyout, but he already has one home run tonight. Kyle Seager once again.
it's
I mean,
it's
is this where
Seager.
we're going?
Yeah, you go for me. You go Seager. If for some odd reason you absolutely need $500, you go Alec Bohm, and then the only other guy I consider is Candelario.
Jeimer
That's
Candelario,
probably my
baby.
three. Yeah,
Let's
that's
go.
probably my three.
I'm feeling it, dude. I'm probably gonna play the Tigers. I'm just telling you now. Like I already know.
I knew you were gonna already. Well before that, as soon as you brought up Miguel Cabrera, I figured that was your
I
stack.
love the daytime Tigers, man. Dodgers just hit another home run. Who is it?
Trey
What's your
Turner,
guess? AJ Pollock.
AJ Pollock. That doesn't do any good
Doesn't do
for us.
it's not help us at all.
Doesn't help us at all.
Shortstop, Carlos Correa is way too cheap, I think, at his price. So that's probably someone I will consider. JP Crawford is probably the cheapest I would go here, but I'm really focused on Correa at that price. If you're spending up, Tim Anderson. I'm really interested in. I don't know. White Sox might be my favorite like expensive stack on this slate. Honestly, I'm really interested in kind of getting ahead on that, the Cole Irvin regression.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. I also think you can play like Wander Franco. I have no problems if you want to go there, or assuming he's starting, you want to go someone like Zach Short just against a bad lefty. I'm cool with that, but feels like Correa is way too cheap. Tim Anderson against a lefty, I feel like I will always use. And then I do agree that you can use JP Crawford just because the matchup's so good.
Yeah, let's finish up here to outfield. A little bit easier position to dissect. What initially stuck out to me, and this was before you and I even started talking, and we kind of figured out like Cole Irvin due for this regression. But Luis Robert, I mean, look at his price tag. You have him and Andrew Vaughn both really cheap. I really like those guys. There's going to be spend ups for sure. Nelson Cruz again, Bryce Harper, Austin Meadows under 5K sticks out as well. But those White Sox guys are really cheap, man.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think Justin Upton's way too cheap too, and I know it's not against a lefty, but it's not like Matt Manning's really going to strike him out or anything. So Upton just feels like a solid play. Spending up, you have like Bryce Harper. Did you mention Harper? I know you said Cruz. And
Yeah, Cruz and Harper were probably the two spend ups that stuck out the most.
Eloy Jimenez at 5K. That dude has been on absolute fire in recent games.
Yeah,
I guess
White
you could
Sox look
also
good.
add in. What was that?
White Sox look really good right now.
Yeah, I agree. Add in Austin Meadows and Randy Arozarena
Yeah, look at Meadows' price.
for
What
all
is
the Tampa
that,
Bays.
dude?
46. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
terrible.
Kevin Cameron, Care, I can't say his name. You guys know who I'm talking about.
Kiermaier. He just hit a double
Yeah,
like right when we started this.
I played him tonight. He's 2,200 tomorrow. I played him last night. He's
Yeah, I
2,200
was
tonight.
bummed
So
my guy Brett Phillips didn't crack the lineup. Maybe he does tomorrow.
yeah, maybe they get him out there.
Yeah, I gotta trot him out there for the day game, man.
Hopefully they put him on the mound.
Oh my god, dude, that was literally that may be my favorite moment of this baseball season so far. Other than Otani just absolutely crushing, it's got to be when
Yeah,
Brett
yeah.
Phillips got the pitch.
Well, I mean, Did you see like his interview after when he's talking about how he likes to mix up his stuff and let him know he could throw the 88-mile-an-hour heater?
Yeah,
It's,
it is so good.
it's so good.
All right, if you guys made it through this video, we really appreciate it. Thank you. Give us a thumbs up, like the video. This is a simple task. I know you guys can do it. I love you. I appreciate everyone that watches this. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Bales, home run call for Thursday's 6-game early slate. Who do you got?
I'm going on the opposite side of your team, and Jared Walsh is going yard.
I love that. You know I love Jared Walsh, so this is great.
Yep.
And I did mention I like both sides of that game, so that's good. I'm going to take Luis Robert, who's insanely too cheap on DraftKings on the slate. Lock Luis Robert in. Lock Jared Walsh in. Lock in two of the pitchers that we discussed. This is a great way to start your lineups.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I believe Bales will be back with a video for Friday. If you guys have any further questions, the Discord is free. You can ask us whatever you want 24/7 in the Discord. Join it, like the video. Good luck on this slate, and we'll see you guys on Friday.